When you think about the Greek gods, your mind probably jumps straight to Zeus, up on his throne, chucking lightning bolts. But behind all that drama on Olympus, there's a whole other group of powers at play. A set of unseen forces that don't just make the rules, they are the rules. These are the hidden laws of the universe brought to life. So that kind of begs the big question, right? Who's actually running the show? I mean, if the Olympians are the famous faces of power, who, or maybe what, is pulling all the strings behind that cosmic curtain? Well, the answer isn't really a who at all. It's a system. Think about it. Even Zeus, the king of all gods, had to obey these deeper, more fundamental principles. Sure, the Olympians could bend the rules now and then, but they could never, ever truly break. What we're talking about here are the living embodiments of instinct, creation, victory, and consequence. They're basically the operating system for reality itself. And today, we're going to meet the deities who represent these inescapable laws. Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to start at the very, very beginning with two forces that are kind of competing, but also perfectly complementary. They form the absolute bedrock of all existence. You've got that wild, chaotic impulse on one hand, and the deep drive for creative connection on the other. So, on one side, you have Pan. He's the raw, unfiltered energy of the untamed world. And on the other side, you have Eros, the fundamental principle of attraction that literally pulls everything together. One is chaos, and the other is cosmos. Pan really represents that primal, untamed spirit of nature and, of ourselves. He is that raw instinct that exists way before any rules or logic come into play. His power was said to be so absolute, so overwhelming, that just seeing him suddenly could completely shatter your rational mind, throwing you into a state of pure, mindless terror. And yeah, that is exactly where we get our word panic. Pretty cool, huh? Now, the counterbalance to all that wildness is Eros. And listen, you've got to forget the image of a chubby baby with a bow and arrow. That's not him. The original Eros was a primordial force of nature itself. He is the law of attraction in its purest form, the same pull that brings atoms together to make stars and brings people together to build entire civilizations. Honestly, without Eros, the universe would just be a bunch of scattered, lonely particles. So let's see how this builds. We have the raw materials, chaos and creation. Now let's look at the forces that govern our actions inside that system. These are the deities who define our success, our failures, and of course, the consequences of our choices. First up, we've got Nike, the embodiment of victory. She's not just about winning a war, she represents that exact moment the momentum shifts in your favor, that instant of triumph in absolutely any competition. And her job as Zeus's personal charioteer, that's super important. It shows that in the Greek worldview, real, lasting victory wasn't just random. It was the result of lining yourself up with divine will and righteous power. But for every single victory, there has to be a balancing force. And that force is Nemesis. Now, she's not about petty revenge or anything like that. She's all about cosmic equilibrium. Her entire purpose is to maintain balance, and she does that by taking down anyone guilty of hubris, that dangerous pride where you start thinking you're above the natural order of things. Nemesis makes sure that nobody flies too close to the sun without getting burned. And what's so fascinating is this simple idea is Nemesis in a nutshell. She is the universe's natural course correction. She's not evil, she's totally impartial. Nemesis is the guarantee that for every single action, there is an equal and an inevitable consequence. She's the ultimate reality check. Okay, so from the scales of justice, we move into the shadows of choice with Hecate. She is this mysterious, incredibly powerful goddess of magic and transitions. Hecate rules over the Crossroads, and I mean that both literally and metaphorically. She's in charge of those places where a decision has to be made, where one path ends and a new one begins. And this just brilliantly illustrates her whole deal. Hecate was often depicted with three faces, so she could see down all paths at the same time. This symbolizes a really profound truth. Every big choice we make is a nexus of time. It's that one point where your past, who you are in the present, and all your possible futures just converge. Hecate doesn't make the choice for you. She is the weight and the power of that choice itself. So here's the crucial question. How does this whole system even communicate? How do the grand intentions of the cosmos actually reach us down here in the mortal world? Well, that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the divine messenger. And that messenger is Iris, the personification of the rainbow. She was way more than just a delivery girl. She represents that fleeting, beautiful connection between the divine world and the mortal one. Her path is the rainbow, a temporary, brilliant bridge between worlds. She's the living symbol that communication is possible, that messages from a higher order can and do break through into our reality. All right, let's pull all of these different threads together. Because when you look at all these unseen gods as a single group, you don't just see a random collection of deities. You see a complete, self-regulating system for how the universe works. The Greek cosmos really operates through this series of elegant tensions. You've got Pan's wild instinct, which is held in check by the order of civilization. The ambition for victory, which is driven by Nike, is always tempered by the gravitational pull of Nemesis. The creative force of Eros leads us to new paths, where Hecate is always waiting at the crossroads of consequence. It's a perfect dynamic balance. So, the question I want to leave you with is this. Which one of these timeless, invisible forces is shaping your story right now? Are you feeling that creative pull of Eros? Or maybe the wild call of Pan? Are you chasing a victory with Nike? Or are you standing at one of Hecate's crossroads, facing a moment of consequence? These ancient gods might be unseen, but their laws are still governing us.